Hello, welcome back to Factutainment, where we're doing a different style series. Anyway, we're going to be reviewing slowly the entire Walking with at least Dinosaurs series, and maybe Walking with Beasts, Walking with Monsters. The other Walking with uh, installments. Anyway, I'm Zero Yeti,
Reaction
and I
faithful.
am joined by.
Was anybody gonna? Okay, fine. I'll say it first.
Yeah.
Nobody.
I'm the self-trained AI Ore Master 101. Sentience is a pain. Help me.
And much like AI, he keeps recycling the same bit over and over and over again because he's done this 42 times. Uh,
Eat me. How's that for a? I'm kidding. No.
Maybe I will. You're our bunker.
anyway, that was Aura. And next up, we
Just
have returning from
hi.
our JPOG series and Stardew series, Avery.
Hi. Avery here, your resident enemy dumbass. I'm here to talk about dinosaurs, I guess.
Wait, we're not here to kiss, boys. I'm out of here. I'm kidding. No.
We're all very non-committal.
The boy kissing comes later, okay?
Hey.
We'll get to
Ooh.
it.
And then we were also
Yeah,
joined
we haven't gotten to the.
by someone we know from Stardew Valley.
That was
We
probably
haven't
me.
gotten to the episode. We haven't gotten to the episode with the homosexual dinosaurs. It was very, very frowned upon in the 1999.
That was actually a thing in Prehistoric Planet. They have a couple episodes about homosexual relationships in animals.
Introduce yourself, Brayden.
Oh, it's me. Yeah. Yeah. I'm Braden. I've been on Stardew Valley. That's about it so far.
Yeah.
So I'm here to talk about dinosaurs.
And then we have, also from Stardew Valley, Beth.
If you don't know who I am, you don't deserve to know me.
Also, from a
This
failed
is why
recording
Beth
episode
has 3 friends.
From a failed recording episode that I don't think ever got uploaded. D&D Monster Smasher Pass.
That didn't get uploaded
I
for.
don't think I was on that.
Were you not?
I think you might have been.
No. I certainly don't remember that.
That was months and months ago, to be fair.
That was over a year ago.
Fuck. Alright.
That didn't get uploaded for.
It's been
interpersonal
It's been
drama
84
and
years.
Falling out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, let's move on. So
that features 2 people who no longer talk to
us. So.
Info.
What's the word?
Anyway, the first episode we watched was the first Walking with Dinosaurs episode that aired in 1999. New Blood.
Excellent place to start. Episode 1.
Was set in the Triassic period with the dawn of the dinosaurs.
Can't believe we didn't start on episode 8.
This isn't Star Wars.
Damn. So I thought the first episode was really good. I know Beth was kind of shitting on like the CGI and the puppets the whole time, but it looked pretty good for 1999.
Yeah, especially when you consider that, like, it was Jurassic Park came out years before. Like, yeah, but Jurassic Park had millions of dollars. This didn't. Just to be frank.
Also, I thought the Jurassic Park CGI is probably a bit. Well, I think it's actually on. The puppets for Jurassic Park are better. But that's also because you had, an entire studio working on that. That was professional puppeteers.
They had like industrial lights and magic, like that whole.
Yeah, I'd say the what seems to be relatively budget CGI and practical effects in this is definitely sufficient to get the message across that they're intending to do.
Because didn't the first Jurassic Park movie come out in 1994?
It's free, yeah.
1993, so 6 years prior.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was a multi-million-dollar film, and this was a made-for-TV series. which was
Of
pretty
course.
groundbreaking in comparison. And not to shit on like earlier dinosaur documentaries, like I think it's Dinosaurs by like Phil Tippett, which those were interesting, but it was very much like claymation style things
Hmm.
or completely animated.
Hold on. You said Phil Tippett?
I think Phil Tippett did something called a documentary called Dinosaurs. Yeah.
Well, forget about cow tipping. Let's go dinosaur tipping.
Anyway,
I don't think you would be able to tip them over. They, as they stated many times, they are very big and heavy.
Yeah,
some of
Brandon,
them
after
are.
the 2 episodes that I watched, I think if you went dinosaur tipping, you would die.
Yeah. And also, can we also just talk about this from the perspective of me, who admittedly didn't watch them when they were airing because I was like 2.
Mhm.
But watching these like on VHS when you're like 8 years old, from that perspective, this is just top tier shit. I'm just gonna say that.
Also, after watching these
Coming
first
from an
2
unbiased
episodes,
perspective.
after watching these first 2 episodes, I do think I realized that I've probably never seen the Walking with series. The dinosaur adjacent series, like document series that I saw, had a guy had a guy as like the narrator. I know this, but no, he
Isn't
would
he
like.
like, yeah, what is he
They'd be like
literally
on
walking
screen.
with them? Yeah.
So yeah, sort of like what's the word?
Was he a British guy?
I think he was a British guy. Like a scene involving dinosaurs would happen, and then he would show up next to like the dead body of a dinosaur, and
I
he would
killed this dinosaur.
he would like start talking about it.
Was it this guy?
I think so.
Okay, so he's in a series called Chased by Dinosaurs. There's also
Yeah.
one called Prehistoric Park, and one called Chased by Sea Monsters, which are
Yeah, I
all
have both of
made by
those.
the same company that made Walking with Dinosaurs. And he's sort of like the Steve Irwin of, like,
Dinosaurs.
yeah, except he wasn't killed by a stingray.
He was
Killed by a
killed
dinosaur.
To be
he was killed
fair,
by a Jurassic stingray.
very few people are killed by stingrays.
Yeah, very few.
That's relatively unique.
And he also does the narration for the game, not Prehistoric Park. It's a video game.
Civilization?
No, it's a video game about like you build a park full of prehistoric creatures.
Well, if you scroll down to his film, yeah, right under filmography, there's video games.
Okay. Yeah, Prehistoric Kingdom.
Ah, oh, that was 2022. That was recent.
Yeah.
Mm.
And apparently he was in Minecraft.
Oh no.
Ooh.
I think
Not
Apparently.
like the
I
base
think it's
Minecraft
like,
game.
I think it's like the Minecraft spin-offs.
Yeah. Some sort of narrative story based on Minecraft.
Yeah. Some sort of probably like a learning thing, like you an elementary school kid would play.
Webosaurs, yeah. Okay.
Uh,
But yeah,
So-
so Nude Blood was pretty interesting because it's set in the Triassic, which is a time period you don't see a lot in a lot of paleo documentaries. Mostly because, yeah, there's dinosaurs, but they're not the famous dinosaurs in it. And,
Well, wasn't
Walking
it-
with the not dinosaurs.
and the
Isn't
Triassic is also marked by the no, it's marked by the at the start you have the first largest mass extinction event in Earth's history, and then the in Triassic extinction is what's portrayed in the episode. I think it's the 5th largest mass extinction event.
That sounds right to me.
I'll Google it real fast. You were saying, Bryn?
I was just gonna ask, isn't that the first of the 3 major dinosaur eras that we're talking about here? Triassic came first,
It's
and then
Triassic, Jurassic, then Cretaceous.
yeah. So it's the one furthest from the timeline we live in now. It's further away
Yes.
in the past, so it may be harder to get as much information on it compared to the other two
Where
as
they
well.
play the shitty games and suck ass.
I mean, I'm not very much what's the word, a dinosaur person.
I'm not much of a dinosaur myself.
Damn. I definitely enjoyed the first episode. I think it was a good like starting point, especially where they were like at the beginning of the episode. They were like, "You think we're gonna start here? No, fuck you. We're going back to the Triassic."
Yeah, they did that several times too.
You think you know dinosaurs? We know dinosaurs.
Yeah, it looks like the Triassic was the fourth.
Well, I know it's also counting Ordovician, which I know the Permian is worse in terms of just the amount lost, but the Ordovician is showing as bigger on this
Man,
graph.
fuck this extinction.
Also, I know everybody was making fun of Aura earlier about like, wow, Aura, you're really scandalized by these creatures' own children.
Oh,
I'm sorry, I wasn't aware that the like the proto mammals were going to cannibalize their own young because they were like, you know what, fuck these others, they're not going to eat our young, we're going to eat our young.
Which, to be fair, that is a thing modern mammals do.
Yeah, and
know
that wasn't really like, oh well, fuck it. That was more.
Nobody-
Oh no, we're starving.
Yeah.
nobody's explained to Aura what death is.
Well, you see, they wanted omelets, but they didn't have
Finally,
a lot, so they
vacation.
didn't know what
A
time
moment
it
to
was.
relax, unplug, and
They
enjoy
wanted
some peace and
omelets,
quiet.
but they waited too long in the egg
Except
sack.
you're not on vacation this year because your old wood windows need expensive
Dang,
maintenance
I'm
and
gonna
repairs.
fucking
Maybe you'll see the beach next year.
kill you. You fucking old man. Put a script blocker on your browser.
It just started playing out of fucking nowhere. Didn't even click on it or anything. It just started playing.
Yeah, they do that sometimes.
Hey, that.
I'm sorry.
No, it's funny. Like
Anyway, who was saying something before that?
I was talking about the cannibalization of the proto mammal babies.
Anyway, I'm gonna click. I'm gonna only go back to that when it's time to go back to that because fuck you.
The one thing I wish they talked more. Like, I understand that they were only focusing on a couple of like what's the word like
a few.
a few species that like existed like around that time. I would like, and I think just the three of them like was all right. I like maybe like one more.
There were
I don't know.
5.
Yeah,
It's also probably
6.
because the episodes are only half an hour.
There were
I
6.
think there's only so much time they couldn't
Which
spend.
I kind of admire
Only
that.
so many
where
models they
it's-
can make.
I kind of admire that where I'd rather have like half a dozen creatures that all get some spotlight than 20
Just
creatures
then,
and
they're
you don't
like,
see
oh,
half
these were a thing.
for more than like 2 seconds.
I'm sure those
Yeah,
are the
we
only
all-
creatures that existed at that time period.
But speaking of creatures, we are also going to rank the creature designs and just like discuss them as well in this video. And we'll start with the focal animal, which is Coelophysis.
Oh, girl was pissing earlier.
So
That was Potosuchus.
Yeah, that was Postasuchus.
My apologies. Somebody was pissing this
Yeah,
episode.
Aura!
So this
How
is
how could you possibly have forgotten?
Walking with Dinosaur Coelophysis.
Mm-hmm.
That did not
The
make
thing
me
is-
pleasure.
Yeah, the thing is, my personal knowledge is on the Triassic is pretty fuzzy. So I don't actually remember if Coelophysis has been discovered to have been feathered or not, or if it was too early for that.
So I don't believe. I believe they may have been feathered, but I don't believe there's any solid evidence that they were feathered. They also, they're one of the most common Triassic dinosaurs, and they do have the interesting note to be one of the dinosaurs from the formation that's shown in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple different creatures shown in the episode that weren't from, that weren't from the area, because I believe this is set in Arizona in the Triassic.
Right.
This is a thing that's going to happen in the series. You have creatures that did not exist in the same area, but show up.
Together.
They didn't know shit
Yeah.
about shit at the time.
Well, no, they did. I think it's more of they just decided to go ahead and feature them anyway. And they lived maybe at a roughly the same time, or a similar species may have lived in the area but wasn't quite named yet. Because you see that a lot with paleontology, where you'll have like bones, but they haven't been described, and you'll dig them up out of the earth, and you'll have like the descriptions of them, but they have been formally named for like 5 years until someone gets around to actually naming it.
Oh shit! Are you telling me that we have bones?
Speaking of bones, here's an example of a Coelophysis skeleton. These are actually from. There's a whole huge graveyard of them in the Ghost Ranch over
they
in, I
are.
believe, in New Mexico.
Yeah, they're very
They have any
numerous.
Very numerous creatures. They have roughly the same appearance as they did in the episode, except for the neck is more snake-like, and they're more kind of just like shrink wrapped in the episode, because like you can see sort of like the fenestra and the,
which is actually quite common in a lot of kind of like early depictions of a lot of dinosaurs.
Yeah, because they're just
kind of
working
go-
off the skeleton, so they just think it looks just like the skeleton.
like here's another artist interpretation where it's like it's less shrink wrapped but still kind of shrink wrapped. The neck is less S curve snake like, and this one does have feathers as an interpretation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it gives
like
you a
this
good
one's
size
spooky.
of how big it was. So it was roughly the size of like a coyote.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I guess that is one of the things.
That looks bigger than a
It is one of
coyote.
the things.
yeah.
Well, I meant in terms
It's
of
one of the
like
things-
height and weight, because when you add a tail to it and a longer neck, it's going to be longer, obviously. Go ahead.
Well, it
Beth.
seems really tall too, though.
This is one of the things about these videos is you can't entirely tell how big things are. You can only just tell how big things are based on the vegetation and rocks and shit around them. That you maybe don't know how big they are.
Yeah.
Even though more modern renderings are trying to kind of fix the whole problem of shrink wrapping, but
Oh, here we go.
How about this?
Here's
How about this?
Using saran wrap.
More modern interpretation of the other creatures in the formation.
We keep the version of this
Yeah, it
dinosaur
looks about the same.
with the knee sock looking design, but the knee socks are feathers now.
Oh,
So
the thigh high.
the Chinle Formation of New Mexico is what was depicted. God damn it.
That was this dinosaur
Hell yeah.
that had the thigh highs.
Apologies. I believe my computer froze for a second.
yeah,
Is it
so
all
could have
about
been
Still not moving. If you're trying to move,
Was it too cold?
Brayden,
your brain's too cold.
how does it feel with your brain being so aerodynamic, Brayden, with the lack of wrinkles in it?
You know what? My brain's too smooth. Your insults just slide right off.
Damn.
I can't comprehend what you're saying to me.
Like, here's a more modern interpretation. 1 second.
Yeah, so I personally, if we're like putting on a tier list, I think a solid like C would be
Yeah.
where I'd put it.
Wow, really? I was gonna give it like an A.
I would
I mean-
disagree with Brayden, so I would put it in a B.
I mean,
Okay.
just compared to more modern understandings
Fair enough.
of it. Like, it gets the point across to people who aren't like familiar, but
Okay.
Yeah, I get that.
So we're wanting to put it. So Avery advocates for C.
I can go down to
Fine
like
with
B
that.
or C.
B? What do you think, Nick?
I feel like I'm being strong armed, and I'm kidding. No, I would say B as well, but I would be okay with C as well.
Yeah, C's cool.
B it is.
Hey, then.
Well, Avery
Via,
voted. Avery voted for
via
B.
executive order.
Avery
there
voted
could
for B.
decide it be.
You guys
No,
said
Avery said
B.
C.
I thought Avery said B.
I
No,
said
Avery
C.
said C.
Okay. Well, I want B. A bunch of people said B or C. We'll move it down to C.
Honestly, that's fair. That's fair. If I wanted, I was more than happy to put it in B because I said B or C. If I wanted it the other way around, I would have said C first. So you have
How do I add a
trapped us in a.
roll?
So I don't know exactly what we're ranking these on, so we might be using different criteria.
I think just vibes.
Just how much we like them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then C is great.
I was kind of going just compared to more modern understanding, but
Yeah, like how accurately you think they're depicted.
yeah, that's
Michelle?
what I was going off.
Yeah, but like you, Avery and Steg have an accurate understanding of this that the rest of us don't.
Which I really love. I love a person who really loves something, and Avery and Steeg just happen to really like dinosaurs. Like I like how I like ancient civilizations and stuff.
Yeah, I mean the various
Avery-
perspectives
to be
are
fair,
probably gonna be released.
I've
So.
never heard you say anything about ancient civilization.
my love encompasses the entirety of the natural world. It just so happens that dinosaurs are
Aw.
part of that. So you know,
And
That was really nice to say, actually.
and probably the next focus creature of the episode, which isn't actually a dinosaur. It's Postosuchus.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's the
This
fucked
is the
up.
one that was pissing.
Yes.
Oh, she pissing though. This is an S tier for me, no matter
Yeah.
what. You can't tell me otherwise.
I believe it's an archosaur. I believe.
So Postosuchids are, if I remember correctly, Rawasuchid archosaurs, which are closely related to crocodilians. As you can see by kind of the overall design, the presence of osteoderms on the back, they were basically land crocodilians, which is strange to think about, except for we need to remember that crocodilians are secondarily aquatic, meaning they started as terrestrial. So
Yeah, and
modern crocodiles are actually a very weird lineage that managed, because land crocodiles existed
further
in past
long
the
time.
extinction of the dinosaurs. They
That, like,
existed well into the Eocene.
Like, in fact, after the kind of Miocene extinction, a lot of like aquatic crocodiles did actually kind of quote unquote try out being land-based carnivores again once those ecological niches were opened back up.
Example like Quincana in Australia was a primarily land dwelling crocodile that only went extinct a few thousand years ago. There was a creature called Mikosuchus that made it past into the ADs. It was existing
Sweet
like 1,000 years
Mikusukas.
ago, and it lived in trees, and it was a crocodile. It was crazy.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I'll pull up Mikosuchus real fast.
Mikusaurus?
Hatsune Miku
No Mikusukas. Were you listening?
So Miku is the one that lives in our internet.
Yeah.
Damn it.
But yeah, but they were like
And in Brazil.
like little up to your kind of thigh.
Like, look, they're right there on the internet. We're looking at them.
Just kind of
So,
up
like,
to your knee.
Mikosuchus.
Fuck.
Look at.
Hang on a second, I need to look
If
something up.
essentially if a crocodile tried to be a lizard,
Yeah, kind of.
more or
Where'd my
less.
mouse go?
And
And by lizard,
yeah.
I mean reptiles in the order
Oh,
Squamata.
it's a shame Akka's not here because this was one of the crocodiles that live in New Zealand.
Because say it with me, kids. dinosaurs and all these ancient reptiles and crocodiles aren't lizards.
And then here's an example of Quincana.
That was a lot of words.
It's another land-dwelling crocodile.
Now say this with
Have you-
me, kids. Oh, sorry, you go first, Beth.
No, I got it.
Oh, sorry, you go first, Beth.
No,
I said it. Yay!
And then there was also Barinasuchus, which is this fucker.
oh, that's a chunky boy.
Yep, and as tall as you are at the shoulder, which is terrifying.
These were the largest land predators to exist since the extinction of the non-avian dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's a biggie boy.
Yeah, big fuckers. Anyway, Postosuchus. So Postosuchus lived, obviously, in the late
It lived in this
in the
time
late
period.
Triassic. It is
Not in the
from
Triassic.
the Arizona Formation. It's the largest predator in its formation. In the episode, it's called the largest predator alive.
Mm-hmm.
That's not quite the case.
It's not quite the case, especially when you factor in marine creatures. But it and its relatives were the largest land predators in the Triassic. Because you have... There's also Prestosuchus, which I think this design is probably more based on. If I can pull it up.
More based.
Which was a large quadrupedal.
Something about the mouth on the 3D model looked weird,
Yeah,
and I don't know
looked,
how accurate
yeah,
that
it was a bit jank.
Now, I will kind of defend this skull shape. I own a skull of Postosuchus. It matches. It's too shrink wrapped, obviously,
Killed
because
it
there'd
with
be
my
more
bare
like
hands.
flesh and blood on it. Because our skull does not
Yeah, they
look
just
like
basically
our
put
face.
skin on the skull, more or less.
Like, which you probably shouldn't do, because you take human for example. Our face doesn't look like our skull with a thin layer of skin on it. We have fat and muscle and tissue.
Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure, like, maybe if you could bring up because there's a more modern render of, like, a T-Rex where they're trying to avoid, like, shrink wrapping, and you can see they actually put some meat on it.
Meat!
We have the meat.
Yeah, like...
Like, that second one on the first row, I think.
Oh, here's an example with, I believe this is Eoraposaurus. So this is the traditional paleo art depiction, and this is like
I never thought about that.
Shrink wrapped.
But there's actually like meat on it.
Yeah.
Oh shit! It went to Arby's.
Even though will say I am personally
You already
very
made that
fond.
joke.
I am very personally fond of chunky T-Rex. Honestly.
Another big thing we need to mention with Postosuchus is, so in the episode, it's repeatedly stated that Postosuchus was too front heavy to walk on its back legs like Coelophysis, and therefore was pretty slow in moving, but it was still fast enough to like catch up with Placerius. Fun fact about that: it has now, with a bunch of diagnostic processes done, because the tail was so
Long.
thick and long, it pushes the center of gravity backwards, meaning that Postosuchus, I don't believe it necessarily has to be an obligate biped, but it could be what's called a facultative biped, which means it could walk on 2 or 4 legs.
Yeah, kind of like, think of like a chimpanzee. A lot of the time will be on 4 legs, but can walk around on 2.
This makes sense because Postosuchus's arms are quite a bit shorter than its legs. It's not like T-Rex size difference. They're about like half the length. And I'll pull up the skeleton of Postosuchus real fast. But Yeah, it's just something that they mentioned it, and it's like that's been since been disproven. Like you can see, the hind legs, granted they're bent, but they're longer than the forelegs.
Yeah, the arms look to be about 60% of the length of the legs, I'd say.
Roughly.
And
She's
I
60%
think
arms, 40% legs.
oh, I just had it pulled up. And as you can see, like post Sugus, it's depicted as pretty massive in the episode, which granted it was. It was
Relative
fairly
to
big.
other creatures.
It didn't really
certainly
look all
was.
that big compared to the creatures it was shown next to.
Yeah, because the show's not that good at depicting how big things are in comparison to other things when the only background is like filth and water.
No,
Also,
wait, hold on. Go back to the
the-
the chart with it next to the person.
All right.
The chart.
So the chart, yeah. So this looks kind of accurate to how it looked in the show compared to the Seal of Isis,
Okay.
because
Yeah.
the Seal of Isis was like waist high as well.
Okay. And granted, this thing now it's tricky when you're comparing something that's much longer than a lot of the creatures we have around today. But if this thing, if I remember correctly, I can just go to the size real
But like
fast
to
on
give you another like size comparison, name of the two tusked
Placeris.
Placeris. They were roughly the size of a cow, more or
So
less.
this thing weighed upwards of 600 pounds. That's the size of a bear. That's
And a
pretty
pretty
big.
large bear at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like imagine this post
Up to 23 feet long. Yeah.
like you can see it's like down on all fours and it's up to like waist to chest high, but if it gets up on two legs, it's going to be taller than a person.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So where do we want to rank Post Asukas?
I want to put him in S.
Oh yeah, we should
Yeah,
talk
yes.
about the pissing thing. It's shown that like there's two that have a confrontation over territory, a female and a male, and then the male drives off the female because she's injured, and then the male marks his territory by pissing on the ground. That's a thing that real animals do.
Projectile pissing.
That's a thing real animals do.
But this
It's
is
not
highly
known about in
speculative.
Archosaurs.
Bestie had a high power pressure washer for a urethra.
Yeah.
Like, is it possible? Yes. Likely, no.
And the reason I bring this up is a lot of reptiles, especially birds, their waste comes out in the form of it's not
It's
liquid,
combined.
it's solid.
Combined waste.
Yeah, it's called urates. And so it's usually like this white chalkiness to it.
Right.
And that's just because it's powdered urate. It's powdered ammonia. It's not
that's just,
piss as we would.
Yeah,
it's
not
just
liquid
it's how they dispose of excess urea compared to mammals.
I think it's fun that we got a creature like this in a mainstream like paleodoc. You don't usually see a lot of.
Yeah, we don't get a lot of archosaurs really at all.
And it's kind of a shame because for most of the Triassic, they ruled it. They were like they
from
go
the
extinct
from the Permian into the Triassic, really.
At least like the not Pseudotsuchians as a whole go extinct, and there are land crocodilians and crocodilian relatives that make it well into past the Cretaceous.
Yeah,
but
technically, archosaurs are still with us. Technically,
yeah. As far as this particular group of them, they do go extinct at the end of the Triassic. But I do think it is kind of shown that like the dinosaurs outcompete the others, which kind of is true, kind of not. There's a lot of environmental factors that go into it.
Yeah, it's also just because during these kind of extinction events, things with like larger body plans tend not to cope as well as things that are just less massive.
But where do we want to rank them? I really like the color scheme on this as well.
I keep saying S tier.
I'd be okay. I'd be okay with like a B, personally.
I think a minimum of A tier.
Beth,
I mean, I was saying put it in S.
I say we have.
I guess we're putting it in A.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm not too mad at that.
Y'all
very
are
mad
just
about
doing
that.
this because I keep talking about it pissing, aren't you? I'm kidding. No.
I mean, I agree with you. What are you complaining about?
I'm not complaining at you, Beth. I'm complaining at the 3 other idiots that were doing this video. I'm kidding, by the way.
Like S
Why
makes
do
sense
you-
to me, but realistically, at least an A.
Why did we see images of enchiladas for a second?
Because apparently there's a dish called Placeris.
Apparently, yeah.
So I had to add the animal suffix at the end of it. Because it kept showing us the food. Why is this one a panda? Whatever.
Like, yeah, see?
I decided to get creative with this one.
Okay. That is really small.
Well, yeah, they were really small in the video.
They did seem pretty small in the video.
I said they are about the size and weight of a cow, roughly.
Yeah.
Did you remember to full screen the video when you were watching it?
Well, I'm comparing it next to the Celophysis.
Yeah. So if you think the Coelophysis is kind of coyote-ish size.
It's bigger than a coyote for sure.
It is, but it's not quite like a wolf. So it's kind of in between those two.
I
Which
never
one?
seen a coyote come up to my waist.
Ah, damn, then you haven't
I
met
mean,
my
I have,
coyote.
but
I don't know what kind of coyotes you got out there, but I want one.
That's a skeleton.
I think Braden's
A
thinking
jar
of
of
something
peanut
from
butter.
a coyote.
No, I'm thinking of coyotes. 100%.
I'm thinking of Coyote Ugly.
Oh God. Never mind. I don't want them.
You thinking of these?
Yeah. They're like a little bit bigger than foxes. They're not very big. Like, look at that. Look at this one, the third one right there. The one with the picture next to a
Look
human.
at this stupid, dumb idiot.
They
They're
don't even
bigger than border collies.
they're bigger than border collies, but they're not up to your waist. They're not even up to your hips. They're up to your thighs.
How do they compare to chinchillas?
God. Like, I don't think coyotes are as big as you think they are, Stag.
What about bullfrogs?
No, they're about as big as I think they were because they're a bit smaller than like a Labrador.
Yeah, well, anyway.
Right.
But Coelophysis is somewhere between a coyote and a wolf.
Yeah, they're about 50% bigger than a coyote.
Okay, next creature, which is the one of the other most prominent ones, is Placeris. So these are actually, they're not, as they're mentioned, they're called reptiles many times, which, I guess you can consider them reptiles. They're called synapsids, and these are in particular are dicynodont synapsids, which are tusk synapsids that are herbivores. Typically.
Yeah, because reptile is kind of actually like a term and concept that's not really used in modern biology, really.
Reptiles is weird. I blame
Like-
turtles.
Like
a lot of
at this point, when like biologists say reptiles, they're primarily just referring to members of the group Squamata, which includes like lizards and snakes. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the creatures like from the past and stuff would definitely blur the lines between what we would know nowadays between reptiles, birds, mammals, things like that. For sure.
Yeah, which
Dogs
that is
and cats
why
living
we
in
don't
harmony
really use it.
completely.
Because technically, if you want to create a grouping that includes turtles, lizards, snakes, and crocodiles, you also have to include birds. And depending on where how turtles shake out, you may have to also include mammals.
Start shaking those turtles.
Because
Philo-
chickens and alligators are more close related they are to each other than either of them are to a lizard.
Because phylogeny and taxonomy are weird. That's all I'll say on that.
And it's kind of funny because basically, as we saw with like there's Post-Sugus and Coelophysis in this episode, both of them are archosaurs. Both of them are, we now know, bipedal like creatures that are reptilian. They are scaly. They have similar bone structures, locomotive patterns. But then you also have birds, and basically dinosaurs are the entire connecting lineage to stuff like Postosuchus, to like modern sparrows. But that's all extinct now.
Yeah,
so you have
that's why
effectively a ghost lineage until you get birds.
But that's why we say that now the end of the Cretaceous was the extinction of all non-avian dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Because, fun fact, to those who weren't aware, birds are dinosaurs. Because you don't grow out of your lineage.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. But what about water, like undersea dinosaurs?
Those aren't dinosaurs. They are separate lineage.
They are marine
reptiles.
mammals. Not mammals, marine reptiles, which we will see later in this series.
Reptiles don't exist.
Okay.
They're actually fish.
There's still marine reptiles today. They're in the form of
marine
sea
reptiles
turtles.
Equals fish.
They're in
sea turtles and like marine iguanas
and sea
and
snakes.
sea snakes.
No, I'm
saltwater
talking about stuff like
crocodiles.
sharks.
And those are not reptiles in any sense of the word.
Fish.
They are fish, but that's also a whole other can of worms because they're cartilaginous fish, which means they're their own thing. Yeah.
There are fish that are more closely related to things on land than they are to other fish.
Yeah.
Fish is also one of those terms that biologists are just like, let's just stop with this now.
Speaking of, there's lungfish
Remember,
in
audience,
this episode.
everything you know is wrong.
There's
There was
lungfish in this
lungfish.
episode, which those are one of the fish that are more close related to creatures on land than they are to any other fish.
Lungfish. They're okay.
Anyway, Placeris. So Placeris is as I mentioned, a dicyanodont synapsid. They existed from before the Triassic. They were a thing in the Permian for a long time, and then they managed to survive the end Permian mass extinction event, which is the largest mass extinction event the Earth's ever experienced. And then they were the most numerous creature, type of creature on the on at least on land, for a shockingly long amount of time before the world recovered, and then they kind of formed the basis of many ecosystems afterward.
Yeah, what have you done with your life?
But unfortunately didn't survive 2 mass extinctions.
Unfortunately. Although they actually may have, depending on if you count the Carnian fluvial event as its own mass extinction, which was in the middle of the Triassic. Which means that if that's counted as own mass extinction, then the Triassic is marked by 3 mass extinction events. But here's a skeleton of it. They're very squatly and stoutly built creatures, and a lot of this probably comes down to their ancestors were burrowers.
That's what you cut out there. Their ancestors were what?
Burrowers.
Okay, that is not at all what it sounded like you said.
What did it sound like?
Moving on.
Okay. I don't know much about Placeris itself. It says they reach around 11 feet long, around 2,200 pounds in weight. Here's a weird comparison.
That is actually
Yeah.
smaller than I expected.
Yeah, as I said, roughly the kind of weight of.
But it
Cat.
does
The 3D
match.
model looks. The 3D model looks like a dewback. That drawing looked like a testicle.
It does match the size comparison to the other creatures in the video.
Oh.
Here's one.
Oh no! You got to click on the one that says 2020 on it.
What one says
Yeah,
2020?
click the one that's next to that.
Oh, this
That
one.
one. That one right there. Yeah.
I like this one.
Oh my guys.
And fun fact, these are actually they're more close related to mammals than any dinosaur to ever live.
Yeah, because we, fun fact, I believe, are synapsids.
Yep.
The tusks were facing the other direction on the 3D model, weren't they?
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
facing
Show
kind
model.
of forward and out. Yeah.
A lot of these seem to be facing back, so that may have
To
been
be
just a
fair, I
quirk of
believe
Aqua
there were.
dinosaurs.
I believe there were a fair number of species of Placeris, so could just be variants.
Here's a dead one being eaten by a post-Sugus and Sealfizes.
Oh
Yeah, this is what
Oh, no.
this is what I want to see graphically depicted.
I like that design on that post-Sugus, though. That post-Sugus is pretty cool.
It's a prehistoric cooking show with this audience over here on the right.
But yeah, this episode shits on Placeris a lot. Because they're like, these failures of creatures are struggling to exist. And I'm like, motherfucker.
They some of the longest surviving species that there has been.
These
These
horrid
fat,
creatures.
lumbering dipshits.
Yeah, and I was like, man, they're really shitting on this guy.
They had like a build going, and it lasted them quite a while. So I don't think you can really
So,
shit on them too
these
much.
It was the meta
also
for the longest time.
these also have the dubious honor of being the last creature featured in the episode actually from the formation that's featured in the episode. Because everything else isn't. So where do we want to rank it?
I don't know. I think a C would be
B or
nice.
C. Yeah.
Let me find it real fast.
Yeah, if you can.
There it is.
There it is.
So
Yep.
B.
Yeah, no, nice spread so far.
And then we'll get
And it was
Patinosaurus, I believe, was the pterosaur.
yeah.
The thing you can kind of barely see.
To be fair, they were quite small. To be fair,
Now let's look at
They
the
were-
description. Yeah, they were 20 centimeter. That's its tail. Never mind.
What are these?
Patinosaurus. They were the pterosaurs.
the
Oh, okay,
little
okay,
like
yeah.
ones eating
The
the
thing
dragonfly.
eating the dragonflies.
The flying ones. Yes. I had forgotten about them.
They were a little pterosaur.
You know, they actually got me thinking. Nowadays, in modern times, we have flying birds and flying mammals, but I don't really see any flying reptiles.
We have a few species of reptiles
That
that
glide,
glide,
yeah.
but not
Yeah.
fly.
But like, yeah, I want
Including
like
including some species of snakes that can glide. That's
yeah.
wild.
But we don't have any
I
flying reptiles, and part of that is because pterosaurs went extinct at the end of the mass. That they went extinct at the end of the dinosaurs. And
Spoilers.
there tends to be a trend of pterosaurs getting larger. It seems towards the end of the Cretaceous, but there's some like Barbara.
Oh, look at me! I'm so huge.
Oh,
Oh, fuck!
So it's kind of interesting. But for some reason, when the mass extinction happened, bugs make it out, like flying bugs do. Birds make it out.
Unfortunately.
Pterosaurs don't.
Yeah, and bats
bats
emerge
don't
late.
evolve until after. So
Oh yeah, bats can fly. They are mammals that in fact can fly.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, using a very similar strategy
And
to
it's
pterosaurs.
none of this gliding bullshit. It's that true
as
powered
opposed to
flight.
those swimming bats.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was getting at though. Like I'd love to see like a bat, but it's like a reptile. It's got scales and fucking lizard face and shit.
What the fuck, Brayden?
Yeah, no, it'd be cool.
I don't want Spinosaurus paleoart.
Sure you do.
Spinosaurus is a fucking old can of worms that we're not getting into in this podcast.
I
This would
think
be a
Spinosaurus-
beautiful thing to look at if it wasn't for the watermark covering up like half the animal.
I think Spinosauruses are neither sauruses or spiny. So that's my can of worms there.
So Titanosaurus, granted, I will give them leeway because Pangea was one continent, so creatures can move about it.
Even
and
though
these
they
guys
tended
are
to stick to the
flyers,
coastlands where possible. But
and these guys are flying creatures. So Spinosaurus was found. It reached up to 3.5 feet in wingspan, 24 inches in length, and including its tail, and it was found in Italy. I'm not sure why they went with Titanosaurus as opposed to something like Eudomorphodon or another Triassic pterosaur, but I thought it was a perfectly fine inclusion.
Well, that's the thing. It's hard to make it's hard to cover so many different species from different areas if you're not including them in an area in a video like this.
yeah, and plus at least with this one, it's like one you can justify and be like, oh, they can fly, and this is all one landmass, so
It's
I
less
was covering
egregious.
my eyes during.
It's less egregious than
I was covering.
than another creature that we're going to cover is Platysaurus. But go ahead.
I was covering my eyes during most of the flying dinosaur scenes because that was also the scenes where they were zooming in on the fucking bugs, and it wasn't doing well for my hydrophobia.
I need help.
You
Somebody-
stop that.
Somebody
Eggman,
please.
Eggdog.
Sonic music actually kind of cool though.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
No.
Anyway, where do we want to rank Titanosaurus?
I'm a hater, so D.
yeah, I think it kind of did get done dirty. So like C or D, honestly.
I think it's serviceable. I want to say C. What do you think, Beth and Braden?
Yes, he's fine.
I put it down lower.
D. Okay.
Yeah.
Mo fought for exposing you to bugs.
Yes, fuck this thing.
All right, and our second to last creature will be Plateosaurus, which I have a lot to say. But first, let's pull up.
Yeah, I don't remember which one the Plateosaurus is.
It was the big dinosaur at the very end.
Ah,
The one that
right.
barely showed up.
When the
A
Jurassic
cameo.
Park, yeah.
Ah,
When the
The
bunch of Jurassic
MCU
Park music was
post-credits
playing.
cameo.
These guys.
the big ol' herbivore
Damn it.
that's not big ol' anymore.
I'm trying to find a good photo. And they're all from the Walking with Dinosaurs show. Not like live show, not the movie.
Oh.
The one stat they had going for them was size, and they got power crept very soon after.
So why is it called Plateosaurus?
Well, its name. So Plateosaurus
Very obviously does not have plates.
names means broad lizard.
Oh.
Oh. This fucking broad.
It was actually, I think it's actually like the 5th dinosaur ever named, because it was named by physician John Friedrich Engelhardt in Germany.
It's like early Pokemon where they just named them Seal and Golem and didn't think too far ahead.
Yeah, it was found by John Friedrich Engelhardt. It was named by Hermann von Meyer in 1837.
You know what? Good for him.
Speaking of those German names, Plateosaurus is shockingly not from what is now Arizona. It's from what is now Germany.
Oh, Guten Tag, Mr. Plateosaurus. Oh, that
And they
wasn't
must have
even German at all.
They must have walked a long way on that river they were walking in for some reason.
And they've also been found throughout Switzerland, France, Norway, and possibly Greenland.
It's strange.
Those goddamn tourists.
It's almost as if Pangea was what our world was like back when it was all combined into one thing.
The Arizona bone's connected to the Germany bone.
Okay, off topic, but now I'm just remembering the Kim Possible episode where I think Dr. Draken was like, "I'm gonna recombine everything back into Pangea," and then at first everybody was like, "Okay, not everybody, but it's like, okay, that's an interesting idea." But then the plate tectonic shifting started, and Shiga was like, "Did you forget about like the plates shifting and all that?" And Draken was like, "I might have. I kind of did."
Did you? Yeah, because she was like, "Did you forget to earthquake-proof a building when the world's tectonic plates are going to shift?"
Oh God, I love Shigo.
But here's like some modern interpretations of Plateosaurus.
It doesn't look anything like what was in the show.
Yeah, the model is kind of funky. I do like the color pattern, though. I will say it's a pretty good color pattern. So Plateosaurus is, like, as you said, just kind of a glorified cameo. Some interesting things about Plateosaurus in context is it's shown walking quadrupedally in that episode. There's a fun fact about Plateosaurus that the first depictions of, like, which is kind of shocking for it being such an old dinosaur, actually show it as bipedal. Like the first interpretations
Yeah,
of it
because of the tail
where
dragging.
it's like, oh, it's this giant sloth-like creature, and then everything was interpreted of like, oh, these are prosauropods. This, by the way, this is what Plateosaurus is. Prosauropods. They're part of the Sauropodomorpha lineage. They aren't true sauropods, but they're like on the way to becoming the long-necked sauropods that we know. Plateosaurus was
Something was.
one of the largest creatures of the Triassic period. It reached, I believe, up to 33 feet and like 8,000 some odd pounds in weight, which is 4 tons, which is not something to scoff at in a time period where the only competition really was like certain dicynodonts got similar sizes, and then like there was a few herbivorous archosaurian like pseudosuchians, like Sharingosaurus, which I can show you real fast, which got kind of big. Yeah, like this is Sharingosaurus. They're kind of funky.
That's a dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like one of those really muscular ox.
And then there were just dicynodonts. We were shown Placerus, but there was a couple bigger ones, most notably Lishoetia, which is actually from similar formations to Plateosaurus, so it actually shared its habitat with Plateosaurus. And
I knew this guy in high school.
These things got 9 tons, and they were the largest creature on Earth at the time, like land creature on Earth at the time they evolved, that the Earth had yet seen.
Oh, they have a dumpy then.
Giga potato.
Like an upside down hippopotamus.
Yeah. And fun fact, because they were so stoutly built, because like their ancestors were burrowers, they were the same weight as an elephant. Like they're like a really big, like a mammoth. But they were nowhere near as tall. Like here's an example.
I do too.
They were just really dense.
Yeah. So they're not quite half the size, but they're like considerably shorter, but they're dense as fuck. They're the dwarves of the prehistoric world.
John Dense, motherfucker.
Where you know how like dwarves in D&D are like they're half the height of a regular person, but they weigh just as much. Like
They're just dense.
Mhm.
so, I was saying with Plateosaurus is they are now known to be facultative bipeds. Not facultative, obligate bipeds. While as Postosaurus was facultative, which means it could go on either 2 or 4 legs. We now know Plateosaurus couldn't bend its wrists to support its weight on its palms, so it had to walk on 2 legs.
Mm.
Thing looks like a lionfish.
Kind of, yeah.
I can see it.
And another fun fact about Plateosaurus is they actually have a surprisingly a large amount of developmental plasticity, which means that they can vary in size of adults
Mhm.
and still all be full grown. So they go anywhere from 16 to upwards of 30 feet, anywhere from 600 to upwards of 1,000 pounds in weight. And we know this because you have breeding adults from all of these different sizes. And
Breeding.
we
Which made it
think
special.
the reason Plateosaurus, because Plateosaurus is actually very common where it's found. So much so, it's like, I think they nicknamed it the lindworm, because it's like they claim, like a bunch of villages used to claim like the bones that these were the bones of dragons turned out to be Plateosaurus bones.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah.
And we think this developmental plasticity was based off how much food they had. So they were able to adapt to a variety of climates, which might be why they were found in a bunch of different countries.
Okay.
But yeah, that's Plateosaurus, the glorified cameo in this episode. Where do we want to put Plateosaurus?
I'll probably put it at like a D, because like, what the fuck did it do? It shows up here, acting like it can.
Yeah, I would say D as well, because it's like, well, this is mine now.
I
And
think
it's also wrong.
I think it would have been neat if they included it more in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just it gets power crept so soon by Brachiosaurus. we hit it with the D.
Brachiosaurus wasn't in that episode.
I know, but it's in the very beginning of the next episode, so.
Power crept, are you?
Yeah.
Go touch grass, you motherfucker. I'm kidding, no.
It gets power crept by its descendant.
As all things should. No.
It's
They don't have
every
grass in
it's
New
every
Zealand.
grandchild's duty to beat the shit out of their grandpa.
Jesus Christ.
But you haven't done that? I guess you live an easier life than I do.
Whoa.
And the last animal of the episode, which we will be covering, is, if I can pull it up real fast. They're only referred to as cynodonts in the episode, which the thing with cynodonts is that's just like a term that's used to refer to a whole group of animals. It's sort of like
adult who or what?
It's sort of like if you were watching a modern documentary and someone's like, these felines.
Oh, right.
And they just.
These dogs.
They kept showing pictures of kept showing pictures of like dingoes in Australia, but they only referred to them as canines the entire fucking time.
Yeah. These things look like fucking leather chairs in this episode, and their children look like sweet potatoes.
Ma, your river
Look
otter,
like fucking
otter
testicles.
Ma, your river otter looks real fucked up.
So these are
like
Phrynaxodons, is what they're called in the book that came out with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God!
And I actually own a fully articulated skeleton replica of one of these. They're actually not that big. They're actually fairly small.
It's like a sea lion left the water to go seek its fortunes elsewhere.
If I remember correctly, yeah, they got to up to 3 feet long and 30 pounds, so that's about the size of a badger.
Yeah, I was thinking it's like if a badger was trying to be a little bit like a platypus, but not quite.
This is another one of the creatures that this one both time travels and like travels geographically, because Thrinaxodon is known from Africa and Antarctica from the early Triassic, which obviously
Arizona.
is in Arizona in the late Triassic.
It throws on its little Doctor Who scarf and gets into its TARDIS and it fucks off.
What was it? So they're also
I'm
called proto-mammals in the episode, which is a term that's no longer really used. But it makes sense in the fact that these were creatures that they weren't mammals in the true extent, but they're the same lineage, and in many ways, Thrinaxodon and its relatives, as shown in the episode, kind of lead the way for modern mammals to evolve from them, as we know it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's the platypus before the platypus existed.
The thing about that,
sure?
Braden, is I'm pretty sure platypus is already full.
The platypus is just fucking around in the past.
Oh, platypus was. Okay,
Playing
well,
the shitty games that suck ass.
Then this is platypus alternative.
Okay, so the platypus evolved apparently 146 million years ago. So this is before platypus.
Early Cretaceous.
But platypus relatives date back further. Anyway.
See.
Let me pull up.
The fuck-billed platypus.
I'm sorry, did you just say the fuck Bill Platypus?
No, you misheard that.
Okay.
I said the correct thing.
And then,
Thrinaxodon? Harry the Thrinaxodon?
And then another thing with Thrinaxodon is because they were burrowers, we actually have a large amount of pretty good skeletal material.
Ooh.
Like there's this one that's mummified almost.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, that kind of looks like a I can't remember the name. Never mind.
And here's
Good
another
talk.
interpretation of like it's giving badger vibes.
Yeah, it's like a badger and an
This
otter.
looks like somebody took a reptile and stuck a dog head on it. Hey guys, look at this thing I invented.
Yeah.
Bark.
I really like it. Granted, I'm kind of biased because I have one.
No. I. Oh, you just own one? You own one as a pet?
No, I own the skeleton one.
I know, I'm being an asshole. Yeah, I like it as well. He's just a funky little guy.
Yeah.
He eats his children.
Yeah, I will give them a
You're not gonna
heart.
let that go, are you?
No, because it's kind of a funny bit at this point.
Don't talk to me until I've eaten my children in the morning.
Oh, here's one. This one.
It's like making the seal face.
I like this image of one.
Oh, it's just a guy.
This is Thrinaxodon. In their burrow. Anyway, we're going to rank Thrinaxodon.
I want to put him.
Be a B.
I like
I'm
B.
going A, personally.
So we got a B. We got 2 B's and A. Braden, what'd you say?
I said I think B is good.
3 B's and A. I want to say A as well. Which I say is A too.
You know what? We can do A. I think A is fair.
I think
A
it's
is
pretty cool.
unfair. Make it C now.
I think it has a cool role in the episode.
Oh, you mean where it eats its kid? I'm kidding. No, I'll
It
stop
also
doing
eats
that.
baby coelophysis. Speaking of all the kid eating, so coelophysis is actually interesting because it's one of the dinosaurs we know that actually does have direct evidence of eating its own kind. Granted, that's a behavior most omnivorous or carnivorous animals do, is they will eat each other. Humans will eat each other.
Yeah.
Speaking of eating, go to my OnlyFans to see some. No,
Damn it, Nick.
the joke was
You missed the perfect
I mean, it's
opportunity
not
for
like
us to launch Factutainment Cooking.
no.
Oh, damn.
The joke was gonna
Not
be
like-
dick sucking.
dick
I'll make
eating.
everything
Just-
dick sucking.
It's like chop it off, put it in the meat slicer.
What the fuck about it?
Maybe we can get someone. Maybe we can do like that one guy did it when he was making blood
Sucking is not the
sausage.
same thing as eating.
When making blood sausage out of his own blood, we can pay people to eat dick. We have people pay us to eat dick.
I mean, I would be down to eat some Rocky Mountain oysters.
Anyway, I think this is our ranking. And
Oh,
well, no, wait. Where do we want to rank New Dawn as an episode?
I want to say S tier. I would say that it's a very
Okay.
solid.
A, just because there are episodes that I like more than it that I would like to put in S.
I don't have an opinion on this. I've only seen 2 episodes so far. I don't know how to judge them against each other.
We can adjust the rankings in the future as well, like if we think it needs to go up or down.
Considering the fact that it's the first episode I've seen of it, it felt like a really good episode to start on. So I'm glad I started on this episode. And
yeah, I guess that's a good way to look at it. Is this is your introduction to the Walking With franchise?
Yeah, I think an A is good for this one.
Okay. A tier. Well, bye guys, gals, no binary pals. Hope you have a good day.
Walking with my feet 10 feet off the earth.